What would you say your biggest challenges are now that we're a year into this with virtual events?
What I find in the virtual event space, at least one of the biggest challenges that we face, is how to really foster those relationships virtually, right? It's very difficult to do that in a virtual space versus a physical event.
My calendar has somewhere between anywhere from a low to 7 meetings a day to as much as 15 or 17 meetings a day. So for me to avoid Zoom fatigue, I have to schedule it in like everything else. So, and I think it's hard as an event producer because everybody's preferences here are going to be a little separate.
How do you stand out among 100,000 or maybe hundreds of thousands of events and invites that everybody's going to be bombarded to? So really home back to the number one job that we have to do in everything, every role that we do is to say, how do you become relevant? And how do you seize that attention? What is that one thing that makes your venue or your invite or your particular connect matter?
Content continues to be king. Like, I really do think that we have to be really thoughtful around what is the topic, how do we position the takeaways, if you will, how do we make sure that we are tying those tightly to the target personas. Like, some of the, I guess what I would say here is some of those things that are very foundational, and as marketers, whether you're sitting in the field or you're leading events or demand gen, I think we have to make sure that we're focusing in on those basics that maybe when we were pre-COVID, you could maybe afford to run a little fast and loose from time to time. And I think we just have to always make sure we put that customer hat on and are really thinking through, especially if we're talking about engaging prospects, like making sure we have customers that are telling our story and that it's not, not only the content, but the format and how we're telling that story. So not just a talking head, but having, fireside chats, having customers speak on our behalf. I think there's just a lot more thought that has to go into making sure that we're differentiated and we rise above the fray, if you will.
I love design. I love great design. And when you walk into a room that's designed really well, the same thing as when you walk into a great event, it really should evoke almost all your senses. Your smell, your hearing. So we were listening to music earlier, your emotion, that, tactile. And so how are we able to really bring all of those senses together and create, something amazing in a digital world?